So, there I was, sitting in the patio, kicked back, cat on my lap, and paper in my hand, slippers half off. And I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what the hell to stream. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I should take it back to my roots. What's the thing I love in the entire world more than anything else? And then it hit me. Picross. So today, I'm going to explain to you a few rules, pro tips, strategies, extraneous, explaneous, extremelyous, cool. So let's get into it. I need to explain the basics. Don't I? This will go fast if you already know. Picross is very similar to Sudoku, but not exactly. What the hell is this song? Oh, this song is good. It's not exactly the same. Here's how it works, okay? 1 on this column. That means that in only one of these 3 squares is there a square. The inverse of that is, since this has a 0, that means that none of these are filled in, which inversely means that this one cannot be here. So we can cross that off, obviously. This cannot be here either. Wait a minute. Is this impossible? No, it's not impossible, but it's actually not clear. It's not, you can't know for sure which spot goes where. It could be like this, or it could be like this. So I messed that up. So let's change that. How can I fix that? I'll show you how I can fix that. Okay. So this is a better example. We know that this one is crossed off. We know this one is crossed off. We know there's 2 here. So these have to be like that. That also doesn't work. Like this. Whoop. That's a 2 now. So now you know that it's like that. And now it works perfectly. Now we know. So that's the basic rules of Picross, okay? Hopefully you won't have to go through that song and dance every time. But those are the basic rules. There's 2, they have to be connected. Now here is another basic rule of Picross. This is very important as well, and this is also very basic one-on-one kind of stuff. You see these 2 2s? That means that there has to be a group of 2, then a line break, and then another group of 2. These 2 groups cannot touch, and there can also not be a one single square with 2 blanks on either side of it, if that makes any sense. So since this is a 5x5 and this is 2x2, you say 1 2 space 1 2, so that's 1 2 3 4 5. So you can fill that in automatically. Those are the basic rules. If you don't know that, you'll learn that fast enough. Whatever Picross game you're playing will hopefully have a tutorial. Now let's get into the more advanced tactical tips and tricks. There's only like a few of these I have. I think there's only like 3 things that took me a long time to learn that will help you drastically in your journey. This one has a few different tips. You see this 4 down here? Well, we don't know. We can't fill all these in. We don't know which 4 these are, except we do know which some of the 4 are. I'll tell you how. The 4 must occupy these 3 squares. It can't fit in this bottom 5 without being in these 3 squares. It just logically doesn't make sense. You can do that in a little more. To do it without the guesswork, you can count from both sides. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. Now obviously it's obvious with this one, but if it was like a 20 by 21 and it's like 10, or if it's like 11, then you count from both sides, whichever the overlap is. Now that doesn't always work. It always works when there's one number, but when there's multiple numbers, well, we'll get into that. That's, I think, the next tip. But here is another secondary tip, something very important, and something that I think is probably the biggest, like, sort of advanced, not really advanced, but it's something that you really need to know because it helps out a ton. Now that you have these, you know for a fact that these ones can be filled in. You know that these 3 are there, and so from these 3 you can fill in these, because you know that the 2 has to touch this one, 3 has to touch this one, 4 has to touch this one. You know that these are like that. You can't figure anything else out from this because I haven't filled up the board. In fact, this probably isn't even like possible, this board, but whatever. Now you know. That is a very important pro tip, something that you should keep in mind anytime you're trying to get into a Picross board. That will help you out a lot, I promise you that. Now let's head down here. Now this one is interesting. Actually, let's say that one for last. That's like the hardest one. Oh, yeah, that's yeah, exactly. So here we got a mega one. Now this is another little bit of, this is an extension of this one up here, which was the 2 2. Okay, here we are. Here we go. 3 by 3. Okay, well, this is okay. You just have to trust me. 1 2 3 4. Wait, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. This is a 10 by 10 grid, but it doesn't really matter the size. We could do, yeah, whatever. So okay, you could try the overlap trick. Let's try it. 1 2 3 space 1 2 3. Okay, 1 2 3 space. Oh, 1 2 3. All right, let's fill it in so it's a little more clear. So that's from the bottom. 1 2 3 space 1 2 3. So, okay, these two. Based on that, we know that these two are filled in, right? Except, no, we don't know that, because you can start from the bottom space, have all these spaces, and then fill these 3 instead. You just don't have enough information to fill in any squares here. Here's how you should actually count multiples. So let's start from here. Okay, let's mark in 5, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a space. So this is pretty much, let's make this like a this. That's a space, not actually marked. So then you can count in the remaining 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 3 are marked in. And you know for a fact that those are marked in. This is as high up as this can go, which gives as much possible room for the 4, which is only these 5. You have to remember when you're counting it off to think of the spaces. That's a pretty advanced technique. It's tough to get a grip of. I don't know if I explained that well. Probably not. But here is probably another, like, it's something that I really, really wish I knew from the start, because it cleared up so much. Okay, this is a pretty tough scenario you're in. Okay, you have a 1 here, but you have these 5, so you can fill these 5 in. Okay, we know that that's there. So you can X off these. Okay, that's not really relevant. Okay, now the 2, okay. There are 2 things you need to learn from this. One is this 2. We know for a fact that these 2 are not marked in. You can cross those off, because the 2 can't possibly reach that far. But since there's a 1 here, the 1 could be any of these. The 2 could be in this one, or it could be in this one. You don't know. You don't want to make guesses. This is not about guesswork. But the 3 is a different story. First of all, let's get that done. We know that that's not there. It's the same thing, right? Like, oh, well, it could be in anyway. It could be go in either direction. But here's the thing. There's not enough room for a 3 to the right. So you know that this one must be marked in. You know for a fact that that one is blocked in. Because there's not room for the 3 to go to the right. Even if this is where the 1 is, which it might not be, but it might be, you still must have this one filled in. You must. No matter what scenario happens. So you can logically deduce that this is filled in. Same with this one. You can logically deduce that those 2 are filled in. You can't X this one off because the 4, it might extend over here, or might extend over here. But we know that even if this one is filled in, or this one is filled in, these 2 must be filled in as well. And the 2 down here, all you know is you can cross those 2 up. But you don't know for sure if it's here or here. A very, very important rule that will help you very, very much to Picross. Those are a few quick tips. That's all I got. There's a lot more to this game. Very, very, very deep. And a lot of the fun of it is figuring out these little tricks for yourself. But if you want to really get a head start on this shit, those are some tips that I can give. Thanks for watching.